Hello everyone, welcome to a new video, another planty video. It is me, Desiree, and today we are talking lithops. I'm going to show you how I care for mine, the lighting I have it in, the soil, the pot, the watering, all that good stuff. And if you don't know what lithops are, I have a visual aid. They are a little succulent. These also are called living rocks. They also kind of look like butts, but I think they would look more like rocks. I mean, some of them more than others. So this is the succulent right here. I think this is one of those plants that's either like you love it or you hate it. You either love it or think it's totally weird and ugly. I think they're so cute. So there's 3 plants in here. Yeah, here's one, and then here's one. And what makes these really unique, not only is because they look like rocks. I mean, I do have some rocks in here too, just to kind of add to it. But what makes these really weird and unique is that this duo of the plant will open up and another one of these will grow from inside of it. So this piece right here on the outsides used to be closed and this piece grew out of the middle of it. I'll try to like find another picture to show you what it looks like because these ones are fully grown out, but it looks kind of like weird and oddly gross when it starts doing that, but it's kind of interesting. And I've been wanting to do a care for lithops video for a while, but this plant needs water so seldomly. Is that the right way to say that? So seldomly. I don't know. I've had this since August of 2021 and I've watered this I think 3 times. This is going to be my 4th time watering it. So it can go a long time without water because these things are so chunky and they hold on to so much water that you don't need to water it very often. In fact, overwatering is, I mean, the #1 way to kill any plant, especially a succulent. You know, this will get rotten with 1 overwatering. So I always err on the side of caution and like wait till this like is screaming at me for water, which is what it's doing now. So I wanted to wait till I could show you what it looks like when it really needs to be watered. And this has been working perfectly for me. Succulents are really difficult for me. Some of them I'm better with than others, but these like chunky ones that really don't need water that often, they freak me out. But this one I've had for, like I said, over a year now, and it's just done nothing but flourish. So when it needs water, they're very squishy. Let's see, like you could kind of see it's giving a lot and they look just really pruny. I know they might not look that way right now because you don't know what they look like being fully watered, at least this one. So I'm gonna come back in a couple days and show you what it looks like fully watered so you can compare the before and after. So they look really shriveled up. They're really, really squishy to the touch, like they give easily, and they just look really wrinkled. They look really like a little raisin. So I wait till the plant looks like that and then I water it. I do fill up a bowl of water and I put the planter in the water. If it has a drainage hole on the bottom, put it in the water and then I just let the water soak up from the bottom until the plant is completely 100% wet. Like every drop of soil in here is soaking wet. I'll pour water over the top too if I feel like it, but most of the time I just kind of bottom water. And then I let it sit like that just like the whole entire day. And after a couple of days, if not the next day, they'll plump right back up. So I'm gonna go ahead and water this and then that way we can come back. I'll show you what it looks like when it's fully watered and then we'll talk the soil, the pot, the lighting, and all that kind of stuff. All right, it is 2 days later. These are nice and watered and plumped up. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the difference. I'll put a before and after photo right here so you can kind of see how they look. But these are nice and firm, like super, super firm. They hardly give to pressure. And if they do give at all, it's because I'm forcing it. You know, they really should be just super firm. And if they're feeling that way, they don't need any water at all. Like even just touching the top of them, squeezing them, they feel completely different than they did the other day. So that is how I water them. I really just wait till the lithop gets really just a little bit like a raisin and feels really soft to the touch, and then I water it. I let it sit in the water most of the day, like I said, in a basin of water, and then I just let it go until I see the top of the soil is wet. And then I leave it like that for probably 3 months, like no joke. I've only watered this a handful of times since I've had it, and they have been doing great with that care. So that's my watering. As far as lighting goes, I have it in that windowsill. It's a west-facing window. Right? Yes, west-facing window. I always get confused between west and south for some reason, just because they're both like really warm sun all day. It seems to do really well in that window. It has never gotten scorched or burned or anything like that. And it seems to do really well like that. So that's the lighting I keep it in. I keep it there all year round through summer, winter, everything, and it seems to do really well. And as far as soil goes, I do have this in cactus soil, just because that's kind of what I've heard is best for cactus and succulents, is cactus soil. It doesn't have a lot of stuff in it, so it lets the water drain out right away. It doesn't have a lot of stuff in it that holds onto water. And I have it in terracotta. So terracotta does wick away moisture, which means it just kind of like sucks a little of the water out of the soil. So it helps it dry out a little faster. That way your succulent isn't just sitting in wet soil. So if you don't have this in a terracotta pot or even clay, and you're noticing it just declining, getting mushy or anything like that, I would highly suggest putting it in something like this that's going to help wick that moisture away from the soil. At least in my experience, it has done nothing but flourish with that kind of soil and that kind of pot. And then in order to get it to flower, I have no idea. No idea why mine flowered this year. It did not flower last year at all, but I saved the little flower so you could kind of see where it comes out of. It comes out of the inside of one of these cracks, and this is just one of the funniest plants I've ever seen. But the flower comes out of here. It's super pretty. It looked like a dandelion. It lasted for a really long time. I'm sure if I pull on this enough, it'll just come right out. No, it's still kind of hanging in there. So I'm just going to leave it until it dries up and I can kind of pull it out. So anyway, that is kind of how I care for these and how I've gotten them to thrive and thrive. Like I said, these two like whole pieces here grew out of this one. So I am expecting these to kind of split open and another one to come out. These two here haven't ever done that. They've never split open and have something grow out of them, but they've gotten bigger and plumper and taller. These ones though have completely grown, and I feel like they're fast growers for what they are, because I've heard a lot about these plants being super slow growers, but for me, for the year that I've had them, for these whole pieces to grow all the way and for it to flower, I think it's a pretty fast grower. Most of the time you're gonna kind of just let it sit there and be like a piece of art. You're not gonna have to tend to it a lot at all. It's a very, very low maintenance plant. I almost wanna say no maintenance. Just give it some sun. I have mine in the west facing window. Like I said, it gets sun most of the day, and then it gets that really hot sun in the afternoon, especially in the summer. I leave it there through the winter as well, and it seems to have no issue. Give it some sun or some really, really bright light. Water it very infrequently. Wait for this plant to just be desperate for water before you water it, because you can rot this plant easily with one overwatering. So if you think it's time to water, wait even a couple more days. What else? Soil. Give it some cactus soil, a terracotta pot, and that's kind of it. It's a really, really easygoing plant. One that you can easily forget about, and the plant is not going to have a heart attack about it. In fact, it'll probably appreciate you leaving it alone for a while. So yeah, that's kind of my basic care for this. It's super, super easy. If you have one of these, let me know. I would love to know your care tips and stuff, because you know, we all learn from each other, and you might take care of yours a lot differently than I do. But for me, it's a really easygoing plant. Really just like set it and forget it, water it a couple times a year, and it'll just be fine and be happy. And it's cool to look at too, because it's just like a little living piece of art without any pests. Oh, pests! I forgot to mention pests. I've never seen a pest on this. I've had it for 1.5 years and it's never been an issue. Like I'm saying, this is one of like the easiest plants ever, especially if you are someone who doesn't want to fuss with your plants. You want to gift someone something that's really, really cool. They can just kind of have it there and just be like a living piece of art. You know, I really love this plant a lot. So anyway, that is it. Let me know your tips and tricks for lithops. Do you have this plant? Do you want this plant? Let me know what you think. Anyway, that is it. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I will see you later in another video. Goodbye.